Hello and welcome everyone back to another session of the Paddock Podcast. F2 has now made it to Baku as we're nearing the halfway point of the season. And Baku being the third street circuit of the F2 season, and we just had Monaco last time around, so that's two street circuits back to back. Baku is completely different than Monaco, so we will be seeing how the F2 drivers match up against each other when it comes down to straight line speed. That's going to be all for today as we head into qualifying.
Okay, good job, mate. Really, really well done. That was a fantastic drive. Bring it home.
So qualifying is complete and we're all set for an exciting race tomorrow. Your top three are Johnson, Lawson and Marino Sato. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow where we'll be live with all the action, and until then, goodbye. Baku never fails to disappoint fans of Formula 2, so hold on tight. The cars are set on the grid and any moment we'll be starting today's race. Welcome to Azerbaijan. This is not your usual racing circuit. It provides one of the most complete tests for the field. Sector 1 sports a set of 90-degree corners, around the block if you like. Sector 2 gets even tighter with the old city walls. Sector 3 just turns 16 to negotiate, and then 2.2 kilometers, flat to the floor, full throttle, in 6th gear, all the way to the end. As the engineers make their last inspection of the cars, let's take a look at today's grid order for the race. Johnson lines up on pole position, and it's Liam Lawson alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid we have Sato, Deruvala, Dennis Hauger, Novalak, Williams, Armstrong, Boschong, Teo Porcher, Caldwell, Nissani, Felipe Dragovic, Yuri Vips, Vesti, Sargent, Awasa, Enzo Fittipaldi, Verschoor, Cordial, Calderon, and Jake Hughes completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. As we await the start of another hugely anticipated Formula 2 race, I'm joined again by Davide Valsecchi. Davide, as a former GP2 champion, can we get some insight to what is running through these young drivers' heads as they sit out on the grid?
Ciao Alex, it's a pleasure to be here. There are nervy moments, there is no doubts about that. Mental strength is the key to remaining calm and focusing on the upcoming race. Formula 2 is so competitive and all of these drivers knows that they are going to be pushing each other all of the way. In this sport, you have to be able to control your nerve.
The formation lap gets underway for this, the Formula 2 race, and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure the car is ready for battle once the lights go out. We are almost ready to start the Formula 2 race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
All right, so here we are coming up to the grid, once again getting pole position after an okay qualifying. And we're still right there next to Liam Lawson and our teammate of Sato right there behind us in P3. So pretty good start for Virtuosi here for this week of racing. And we're really looking forward to it. So myself, Lawson, Sato, 5 red lights are on, and we are off. Starting on the super softs with our strategy, and then going to the regular softs afterwards. As we take the racing line quite well. Sato side by side with Deruvala as we're coming around the first corner and doing pretty good, hitting our braking point a lot better. We had recently driven this track in the Invictus Racing League for I believe it was week 4. We raced on this track. Still very familiar, and not really much of an adjustment. Difficulty to adjust here on F2 as we swap over to Lawson on the onboard camera and see how close he is. About a half second between us. And a lot of that time can be lost here throughout the corners as we're still holding on to the lead as of right now. Lawson trying to make a move on the inside, but we cover him off. So we're doing pretty good as we're coming up to the castle section here. You can see that we're trying to build that gap about 8 tenths or so, 7 tenths now as we're coming up to the castle section. Very narrow left turn, and you can basically take this in one big curve. Just have to make sure the exit out of that right-hander through sector 2 to sector 3 to this long straight to turns 15, 16, the turns here, the left-hand downhill turn coming up as we hit it pretty well. And you have to make sure you get your braking point pretty accurately, otherwise your right tire's into the wall. So the final left turn into the basically the longest straight, one of the longest straights of the season, as we have 4 tenths on Lawson, but no DRS as of yet as we're coming around the main straight. You can see that interval gate going up and down just barely. Lawson about 4 tenths now. He was at 5 tenths or so. We did get power down a little bit faster than him, but when we get DRS on lap 3, that's going to change a lot. As we round out the end of lap 1. Coming back here to lap 2, Lawson's about 4 tenths or so, around the same distance that he was last lap, but he has the momentum, he has the wear and tear into those tires. A little bit of scrape from us there on the wall, and the dust being kicked up. Very good angle there as we're coming down. Lawson's just under 5 tenths, 4 tenths now. You can see him closing ever so slightly. Sato about a second back behind Lawson. He's trying to close in to see how much time can be regained from this main straight if you have the proper setup. You can see that dropping down between 4 tenths, 5 tenths here as we're starting lap 3, and most of the race is going to be like this. But unfortunately, start of lap 5, we're coming around the first corner here. Lawson, Sato behind me in P2 and P3 respectively, and then we end up getting an engine failure. So that's going to be an unfortunate early end to us here in Baku, the third street race of the season. We were looking strong and confident for a win today, but that's just not the case. That first engine failure for myself, other than the tire issue in Imola. And the AI, not sure what they're doing here as we cross over and pull off to the end of this straight. That's going to be the end of our race here in Baku.
Carlin have pulled off a sublime performance to secure the top step of the podium today. So, Davide, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
It was down to one thing: consistent pace over everyone else out there on the track. We could spend a great deal of time talking about race and tire strategy, what has occurred on the track, but at the end of the day, the difference here was down to simply being faster on track than everyone else. Amazing skill on show.
And there you have it, today's winners. Having raced some of the biggest names in F1 to date, Carlin have once again shown their expertise when it comes to recruiting new talent. No doubt today's winners have a bright future ahead of them. They certainly deserve it after today's performance. Liam Lawson extends his lead at the top, getting ever closer to securing the championship. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Liam Lawson. One of the best things about Formula 2 is watching these young drivers grow and mature, and it feels like his career took a big step forward today.
And now a look at the team standings. Carlin have extended their lead at the top of the standings. It was also a strong race from Trident this weekend. Fantastic work from the Italian team to move themselves further up the table. That's the end of today's race. Thank you for joining us, and I'm sure you'll agree it was a great race and sets us up nicely for the next instalment in a few weeks' time. Take care. From Davide and I, it's goodbye.
All right, so that was a surprising finish to our Baku race here in F2. Marino Sato managing to get P2 on the podium as we were trying to push against Liam Lawson. We did manage to get 2 points from qualifying. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but in order for us to have the storyline progress with the quote-unquote regulation changes, we had to restart our save file, and that's why you see Liam Lawson and the constructor standings were different compared to what we had. So the points that we had at the beginning of the season are null and void, but we're pretty much sitting in a good standing as we continue on to the next race. So no post-race paddock podcast for this episode, and we'll see you guys in the next one.